slight issue with the stream there. Hope it's back up. Nothing too much crazy has happened as he jumped the front. As Scott and his teammates swap places. A gap already beginning to form between P2 and 3 and 1 and 2. So we're going to stick in this fight here as the Haas looks to catch back up to the Alfa Romeo, who's on the edge of both Red Bulls. Both Red Bulls holding each other up, swapping places back and forth. No team orders at all. This is going to be an insane move if he can pull this off. This is dangerous with his teammate, and Scott forced to back out. He goes wide. What a move from Osimhen Jones in that Red Bull, but can he do anything with it? His teammate goes wide. He isn't under threat from the Alfa Romeo actually, but definitely lost plenty of time to his teammate. What a move there from the Red Bull. Oh, the straight line speed from Scott. Gets back ahead, but his teammate outbreaks him and still makes the apex. Who's going to get the better exit? It looks like Scott. What an exit from Scott. He bombs right past his team, but they do hit. He's hit his teammate. And now, does that put Osimhen Jones under pressure from the Alfa Romeo? No, it doesn't. The Haas begin to back away from the Alfa Romeo as he looks to defend his position from the Ferrari, both Mercedes, and multiple cars close behind us. It seems to be a bit of a TVX buzz train going on through Austria here. And these two are having an unbelievable battle. Both Red Bulls. Bit shaky for Scud. That's going to invite Osimhen Jones, but this time Osimhen Jones has the outside line. He's already passed him, and Scott, yeah, wisely backs out of that one. He knows he's got the straight line speed to get back past him, and for now these two just have to keep jockeying for position, hoping to stay ahead, but a big shake for Scott. Thankfully that straight line speed saves him. As you can see behind, Neon looks to go down the outside of the Haas, doesn't quite get ahead. The Haas blocks the switchback, well defended, but he's using a lot of ERS, whereas Neon saves some of it, backs away from the move. Both Mercedes playing this game smart, not going for any moves on each other as they try to get each other through. There's contact. Magic McGee falls back, and who's there? That's Krob again. Krob, more contact from at the back. There was contact between the Mercedes. Neon finally passed the Haas. Harrison looks to get past the Haas as well. This would have been Harrison's teammate. Shall he not have left Haas? But currently, all he's shown Harrison why he shouldn't have left, showing that the Haas currently sitting in a better position, if you're not including his teammate who's unfortunately DNF from the race. I mean, if I was Harrison here, I'd just let my teammate pass, because Harrison's got no ERS, can't get past the Haas, and he's actually holding up his teammate a lot. There's contact. Harrison, 3-second penalty, and that messes up his teammate. As now Ice goes ahead, but a great exit, plenty top line speed for the Mercedes. Gets back past, but he's fallen 6/10 behind his teammate, and his teammate has a 3-second penalty. Buzz doing a great job at keeping behind both Mercedes here. That looked like a bit of a shake from one of the cars there. Battle for P16 all the way down here in last. Ben, I think Ben sadly is really struggling. What's going on here? We've had contact, I think. Or is these people coming into the pit? I'm not quite sure. It is contact. The Mercedes is round at the final corner. He drops plenty positions. And wait. guessing Harrison just hasn't pitted, because Harrison is now up to P3. Are these people coming in for intermediates? It is. So for these cars sitting at the front here, especially both Red Bulls staying on the wet, this could be risky because they may be forced into a double stacking for Scott. That's not what you want. Scott's got more ERS, the better straight line speed for overtaking, and he's sat behind his teammate and could get hold up quite a bit if they decide to double stack. See a battle actually back here between the race leader, who now has a penalty. I don't know if that was for speed, I missed that, but he's being held up by the Mercedes, and that allows Anger. Anger's called back up to him. He looks to be going really quick, but that's a warning there for Anger. The Mercedes pulls it into the pits, lets the Ferrari through, but he will indeed block the Alpine a bit, allowing Thomas to pull a gap. But Thomas with that penalty now, that's going to cost him. Scott is forced to stay out. Bubble stays out also, so with his expertise, I'd like to say, Bubble staying out, this might not be a bad call for them to stay out on the wet a bit longer. But the track definitely clearing up. A dry line will soon begin to form, and them intermediate tyres are going to become right into play. Well, I mean, you can see they already are, as Anger is going faster and faster, gaining so much time onto the leaders. Let's check the gap to the leaders actually. It's 11 seconds. If the leaders pit now, they're looking at around about P10, P11, maybe even lower. What's happened to Buzz there? Buzz has had to come back into the pits, I believe. He was looking pretty nice there in P7 at the time, but he's dropped all the way down to last currently. That's not what he would have wanted, but Scott pulls into the pit lane. I think Bubble's following him, he is. That's Scott and Bubble both into the pits. No penalty for Scott. Is there going to be a penalty for Jug? No, not quite. Sorry, not Jug, Bubble. So that means Thomas retakes the lead, but Anger's going much quicker behind him, and that's another 3-second penalty for Harrison. Very wide, actually, for Anger there, as Bright goes even quicker. He's now in a P3, so he's actually undercut both the Red Bulls. So the Red Bulls make the wrong call by staying out, and Scott staying out 2 laps, but he gets out in P5. Krob, fastest of all. He seems to be setting fastest laps, but he's not getting anywhere with it. He's just nowhere near the rest of the pack. Down in P15 in a battle with the Mercedes. I'm seeing a battle here for P9. Position swapping everywhere. Looks like Ross in his Williams gets ahead of Dan Matt in the McLaren. Magic McGee gets ahead of the Aston Martin, but the Aston Martin, big dive bomb. Bit of contact there, and that invites the other Williams, Graceful Rock. Will he send a move into turn 5, the long left-hander? He does. Not quite contact. Ben's done well to avoid that there, especially the Williams making that move. That could have been costly for both drivers if he would have sent that any bit more. Now look here at Osimon Jones as he looks to close up to P3, who's It's Bright. So Thomas only gets a warning, like a 3-second penalty for his warnings. It's not a speeding penalty actually, I just noticed that. So he still sits in P2. Well, but if no other penalties are applied after the race, I don't think they should. Haven't seen anything bad from them too. But Osimon Jones closing that gap to Bright, but he's draining a lot of ERS. Bright's got the advantage in the ERS category. So we look behind as Harrison, only 4 tenths now behind Neon, but a bit of a bad exit there, and a 6-second penalty is not what he needs. And he actually looks like he's at the points, but Osimon Jones gets the penalties. He goes wide into turn 5 and he goes wide again. He's getting desperate here. He does gain a lot of time, but that 3-second penalty, it's not going to matter if he gets ahead of him here. Bryce can just sit behind him and just keep that gap. Tomas, Anga go even quicker. Anga fastest lap with a 14.5 in P2, closing that gap ever so slightly to the leader. And there goes Kropp again, goes even quicker than the leaders, so he's actually setting the pace of the leaders, but like I said, he's not getting anywhere with it. He's still not even caught up to the car ahead, who's Juggernaut, but he is slightly pulling away from the Mercedes behind, to be fair to him. That just shows how close this tier is, and just one mistake can be so costly. Tier 4 definitely up there, I'd say, with the most competitive tier. As you've seen through qualifying, the top 5 in quali, you're separated by only a few tenths. But in this race, just a few mistakes from some of the drivers has shown the difference. As I mean, Tomas, penalty there for Ben, down in P10. That will drop him down to P13 if the race finishes how it does. Dan Matt also penalty, but Tomas, fastest lap of the race. So he pulled a bit away from Anga there, so Anga doesn't go quicker. Both, I mean, they're very similar in terms of ERS and everything, but Magic McGee goes fastest, actually the 14.0 down in P9, so he looks to close the gap to the AlphaTauri in P8. But all Anga has to do here is not do that. He doesn't want to make too many mistakes, get himself a penalty and drop out of that 3-second gap. He just needs to keep Tomas in his sights, slowly close that gap and maybe make a move on him to secure that lead. But for now, he's sitting nicely in P2 with, well, halfway through the race now. And there's been plenty carnage. Much more to play for. You've got to think, what will another safety car do for this race? As you see cars like Osimhen Jones sitting in P4 with a 3-second penalty. Tomas, his 3-second penalty can completely change how the order will look at the end of the race. Can Scott close the gap back up to his teammate? His teammate looks to be all over the place through that final sector. Magic McGee, 3-second penalty. Should still keep him ahead of Ben. Neon goes fastest, 13.5. Fastest laps are coming out of everywhere. His drivers are pushing the limits now of the cars, and they're getting used to these wet conditions. Neon's gained a lot of time there. Will his exit be as good? We've seen Scott's exit with this top line speed. It's been unbelievable, and it has been again 5/10 gap pulled down that straight. But will Neon, with a bit more downforce, be able to gain the time back through the corners? He's getting desperate. You can see him using ERS through the middle sector as he looks to close up to Scott here. I mean, for Neon, that's not necessarily what you'd like. Only a 10th or so gain through that middle sector. And then you know that Scott's just going to pull away again. They're both draining ERS though. That could be the key actually for why there's so much time gain, because Neon saves a lot more ERS through the straights. Expert Bubble now with the fastest lap. 13.420, no pun intended, as he goes and tries to attack the McLaren. Still quite away from points, and Neon's must have had a bit of a mistake there. He's down 1.1, that's cost him 6-7 tenths or so to Scott. As Scott now closes the gap to his teammate, 4 tenths the gap to P4 for Scott. He is sat in P4 because of the penalty, but he wants to be able to attack Bright, and P3 is also. Osimhen Jones has got to be careful he doesn't get another penalty here. He keeps going so wide at that corner there into the final sector. Tomas going quicker, 13.1. Dan Matt, another 3-second penalty. That drops him even more places at the back. Expert Bubble and Bubble battling. Never mind, that's because Danmar comes into the pits. The Mercedes gets a 3-second penalty as a back marker there. Gonna come back to this battle. It seems to be where most of the action's at. Scott, he's now even dropped a couple tenths to Neon again. He just can't seem to get close enough to his teammate, and his teammate's just not letting Scott through. I wouldn't say he's costing too much time, but definitely costing him a chance at attacking Bright. I think that's a warning for Scott. Can I check race director? Oh, I can't. We'll take a quick break from the action just to check here. I want to check penalties and warnings. So Anger is on 2 warnings. He's got to be careful, because then he will have to make a move on the leader. And Scott seemingly only has 1, and that's another 3-second penalty that we've missed for Ozzy Jones, and he let his teammate through, it looks like, maybe? No, they've made contact! He's hit him! And that's just allowed Bright to pull a 1.5 second gap now to Scott. And Scott's going to be fuming as his teammate picks up another penalty and then hits him on the exit of turn 3, allowing Bright to pull away. Tomo's 6-second penalty as Anger goes quicker. We're going to go into an off-board view. You see this Red Bull chasing down his teammate, and the Red Bull ahead chasing down the Alfa Romeo ahead. Krob, 3-second penalty. That won't affect him too much as Neon has gone into the pits for another tyre change. Was that... What tyres have I just seen him put on? Is that dries? It is! Neon taking a big risk here, putting on the mediums. I want to go on board with him here, just to sort of see how he deals with this tyre, because it doesn't look dry at all out there. Dan Matt is also taking this risk, and I don't know what the case is. It looks very shaky out there on the dries. I don't know what they're planning on here. This is a big risk from Neon. Let's get the gap up to the leaders. I want to see how much time he gains. It actually, I'm pretty sure he's actually about to get... Oh no, that's not it. Cars are definitely going faster, so it is dry enough. But it's the cars and the intermediates that are getting faster, and not Neon. Ozzy Jones, 9-second penalty now. But Krob comes in the pit. I believe he's going to be putting on them medium tyres. You've got... It's 12 laps. If this is a big race. Ben goes through the Williams to overtake him. But the risks that some of these drivers are taking are crazy, because they just give it a couple more laps, you can stick on the soft tyre and get even more pace out of it. But Anger, you can see now, closes this gap up to only 2 tenths, as well as a 6-second penalty. And Scott's slowly closing the gap down to the P3, but not just enough. That's close for Anger. Might be his... Oh no, he was on 2 warnings, so that's not quite a penalty for him, but he's all over the back of the Ferrari now. Scott gets himself a penalty. Bright can definitely calm down now, as the car behind him gets a penalty. Does set the fastest lap though, because of that penalty. Definitely gained himself some time there. And you can see now, look at Buzz. The tyre difference that he's got, I don't know what Neon was thinking. Neon was up in P7 and he's just been overtaken by Buzz, who at one point was sat P17 by about 20 seconds. So this, ooh, bit close, we've got a mistake. Who's this that's gone round? Is that Dan Matt? It is Dan Matt, struggling on the mediums, but it looks like it's stopped raining now actually. Anger gets his 3-second penalty, but he still has a 3-second penalty advantage to the leader, and has reset his warning, so he doesn't have to be as cautious anymore. And the gap is only a 10th. These two are going, oh, they've crashed! Anger's hit Tomas as they both come into the pit. Tomas dives into the pit, but now the gap has gone through and Anger's fallen down the order. Bright into P2 now. Scott into P3, Ozyman Jones P4, and Anger finally into the pits, but down in P6. And for Anger, that's just not what you wanted. Tomas, I mean, he's been hit, but he's recovered it. And so I mean, everyone now is coming back onto the mediums. So actually, I take it back, Neon. He gets back past the Haas and might gain a few more places back here. Sets the fastest lap of the race. So I do apologise about that, Neon. The strategy call has worked just about, but definitely could have done it a bit later and got himself out in a better position. So the two leaders still on the intermediates. Scott gets past. It's Bright. Bright goes to the dive bomb. Switch back from Scott. And here comes Tomas, who was the race leader at one point. He's all the way down in P5. He's making contact with the Alfa Romeo. He's getting blocked off the Alfa Romeo. He can't get past them. He's desperate for this move. And in a crazy turn of events, just in that last lap, yes, Tomas looks like he's about to re-overtake Bright, but Bright is now actually merit winning this race once the two cars ahead finally come in the pit, which they have. Due to penalties, Bright leads this race, but Scott leads it on track. Ozyman Jones comes out in P4. Harrison gonna get ahead of him now, I think, just about. These two are gonna go wheel to wheel into turn 3. You can see ahead also, Tomas and Scott going wheel to wheel. Harrison goes deep, there's contact with the Alfa Romeo, that might be damage. Alfa Romeo goes wide. It's Bright, stays in P3 for the win. DRS now enabled. And look at this, Scott bangs wheels with Tomas as he tries to go around the outside. Doesn't quite make it, but now he gets a better exit. Going into the middle sector, these two are going to go wheel to wheel all the way through. Scott dive bombs this contact, and they've both spun in this contact. Bright's made it. Bright's hit him, and there's more contact, and Scott pulls away. Scott's leading this race, and there's not even a safety car, so he can just run away with this now. It's got a 1.5 second gap plus a 3-second penalty. And the Alpha Tauri is merit P2 after starting the race down in P19. And there's lots of penalties coming in as there's carnage at the back. Tomas is all the way down in P15 after leading this race for the majority, if not the entirety of the race up until now. He's not going to be happy in his cockpit with that. Ben has to back away. Ben spun on the straight again. His wheel still causing issues, I believe. Oh, that's awful for Ben as the Haas fastest lap of the race. He won't get any points for that though as he goes on the soft tyres. Oh, look at this battle from Anger's POV. They're going wheel to wheel. The Williams of Graceful Rook and the AlphaTauri of Expert Bubble still wheel to wheel. This is great racing. Anger looks like he wants to get himself involved. The Williams just edges ahead. Bit of grass taken there from Bubble as he's got to take it easy. Falls behind the Williams, and Anger looks to get into the battle, but he just can't. Oh no! Bubble, I mean, sorry. The AlphaTauri no longer sitting in P2 like he was, as he gets another penalty and will actually have to make the move. It's actually Neon now, who is looking at P2. Will he make the move? The AlphaTauri's actually on softs. Will they fall off by the end? Let's see how long he's been on them for. He's been on them for 3 laps. That's the same as the 2 leaders on their medium, so his tyres will definitely fall off towards the end. And he's going to keep falling behind. He may even fall behind Bright and only finish P5 here. That's still fantastic. What a recovery drive from that man in the AlphaTauri after starting P20. But I mean, we're seeing chaos. Anger does finally get ahead of Bubble. I've missed that, unfortunately. I don't know if Bubble already had a penalty before now, but he does now. Low on ERS. But I think that's a common case across the board. All drivers struggling for ERS spot from the back markers. Harrison in P2 sets the fastest lap of the race. He's on the back of the Red Bull here. Faster behind them is the Alpine from Anger. Faster behind them again is Tomas, who was once the race leader, who sits now in P14. Harrison's got to hope and pray that Scott gets another penalty here, otherwise he's just going to have to sit behind him and accept a P2 finish. Or even worse, there might even be P3 looking at the penalties. But I mean, AlphaTauri's struggling on them softs. He just stays ahead of Neon, but there is a big gap building. Neon needs to get ahead of the AlphaTauri if he wants to get this P2 finish from penalties, because the gap just continues to extend. I mean, Grace Rock's definitely going to get himself a couple of places here with penalties if he can keep it clean for another 6 laps. Does have Expert Bowl right behind him. Anger goes quicker again. He's absolutely flying out there on their mediums. And then Tomas goes even quicker. You can tell these two want to get back in their race after their collision. Oh, I've missed this. The 2 leaders are battling and Harrison's had to run wide. He comes back on track just behind the Red Bull of Scott. It's like real life all over again. Just the Mercedes and the Red Bull going at it. Well, real life as in not last season, the season before that. Oh, Scott's got to be careful. I don't know how many warnings he's on. That looks like another warning. That might be a second. 5 laps left for him to get a warning or 2. It's very possible, but Harrison's still going wide, and that's another penalty for Harrison. That drops him down from second, and no matter what he does now, he will not be winning this race. Oh, Magic McGee spins in the final corner, dropping him plenty places. Yeah, Harrison takes the lead on track. But for Scott, I mean, he's got a 6-second penalty advantage. He can just relax behind, get the DRS. Doesn't have to force a move, but it looks like he wants to. He uses a bit of DRS there. Going down now into turn 4. He looks like he's going to die. Down the inside, he does. Harrison turns in on him a bit. There's lots of contact, holding each other up. Scott gets ahead though. Anger gets ahead at Ozzy Jones, and now he's battling with Bright. He's on a great recovery drive here after the contact, dropping him down to about P10. Tomas also, he was down in P15 up to P12 on the back of Krob. Bit too far back for points though, however, and does have an extra penalty. We're going to go back to the front now, as Neon still cannot get ahead of the AlphaTauri. And look at these two again in front, battling. Harrison lets him, Scott lets him pass to get the DRS. Does look a bit shaky, and that allows Harrison to pull a second gap. Magic McGee is retired on track in the middle of the middle sector. Is this going to be a safety car with only 3 laps left to go? Thomas finally gets ahead of Krob, just about. Looking at the track map here. Oh, Osimon Jones has spun it. He's dropped all the way down the order. Down in P13 now. That promotes mobile cars. Thomas, no ERS left. Neither does Krob. Oh, they're going down. Thomas has hit the side pod of Krob and just can't get that overtake. Look at this battle. It's Bubble and Graceful Rock still going at it. They've been battling for ages now, and Bubble cannot get past the Williams. And looking to join the battle is the Mercedes. However, he is not going to be able to actually beat them in terms of results, but he might change how it goes because he looks awfully close to Bubble. Oh no, he goes wide. That's another penalty for the Williams. That promotes Bubble up a place for free. And look at this. Wait, Scott must have made a mistake now because Scott is actually dropped behind the AlphaTauri and Neon. Neon has finally gotten ahead of the AlphaTauri, and this has actually put Neon in the lead of the race. Neon now looks to win. What's happened back here? Bright spun! Bright has spun in turn 3. Turn 3 seems to be causing these drivers many issues in the closing stages of this race. And Bright, he started P2 and had such a great race up until now. It's all gone downhill. And there we go again. Ben, pardon me, the Ashamon. Another spin at turn 3. Look at this battle. Bubble, Graceful Rook, the Mercedes, all within a second of each other, battling it out for P6. But I believe Bubble could actually just sit at the back of them all and would still finish P6. Roanga now, the Alpine. He's had the best recovery drive between him and Thomas. Thomas not quite in the points yet. Good looks. Is AlphaTauri going to make a move on the Red Bull? Not quite. Good block by Scott to avoid the cutback. But that actually invites Anger to fly past the AlphaTauri there. And may even make a move on the Red Bull. Not quite. The AlphaTauri's going to hit the Red Bull as he comes back at him. And he spun them. Scott is round. DMG Ben retires at turn 1. We can't have a safety car at this point in the race. But now it's P4 and P5 for the AlphaTauris. Both of them having great recovery drives. Scott is actually falling down to P8 and he's going to stay there. And for Anger, he's brought it back to P2 if he can keep it. Oh, this is the last lap, is it? Is the race over? No, this is last lap now. For Harrison, he's got maybe just a big enough gap to stick it in P3. He's had such a good drive here. Starting down in P13. I said it's an unlucky number, but for him, he's had quite the lucky evening. Neon currently leading the race on penalties ahead of P2 of Roanga. And unfortunately, this AlphaTauri, Icecorn, gets himself another penalty and will actually fall behind his teammate, who's currently battling the Mercedes on the final lap. The Mercedes trying to gain as much time as possible. Extra Bubble's going to throw it down the inside. Lucky did not make contact, but the Williams goes around the outside. This is beautiful racing from these three. They've been going at it for about 10 laps now, and it's just unbelievable stuff that they haven't made contact yet. But we jump to the front as we the final corner of this intense race. Harrison, he's going to finish in first. Unfortunately, penalties are going to drop him back. Neon takes the win for the Austrian Grand Prix. Roanga second. Harrison finishes third. And Bubble P4. Krob P5 after a great recovery race from him. I didn't even realise he was up there. That's a great drive from the Alpine. P6 for the AlphaTauri, who started last. Krob, by the way, was last from about lap 2 or 3. Graceful Rock P7. Thomas P8 after leading the race for about 20 laps. Then we have Ross, the Williams. Scott P10, who was also leading this race for a bit and looked like he was going to take the win, as he was good on penalties, but it just wasn't meant to be as he was spun round. Then the Mercedes, after penalties, drops down to P11. No points for him. Bright, also no points for him after looking so strong at this track. Unfortunate for him. And Buzz, yeah, I mean, that just sums up his afternoon today. Some decent pace here and there, but just not enough consistency across the laps. And a bit of bad luck. Season finish in P14 by well over a minute. What a race.